Hi, my name is Christine von Lossberg, and this is a story I wrote in 1994, and it's called Skylight. So here we go. Westa opened her big, beautiful eyes and looked up at the beautiful Alaskan sky. Today was the day that all the females were to swim to the warm waters of the Baha. She had never swam that far before, but she had never had a baby before. This was her first calf. The ancient ones had created the invisible path, and somehow all the whales just knew where to go. It was very far and sometimes dangerous, but it was their way, and it was an adventure that all the females would share. Westa was so excited about going. She could feel her baby within her moving about ever so gently. She would hum to him under the water so that he would know her voice. When she would hum, sometimes he would move at the same time. A show off already. I bet you will be a great jumper, she would think out loud. Oh, Westa, Westa, Mista called. She was Westa's best friend. She was to have a baby too. Well, we are all about ready to go. Are you ready? Did you get enough sleep, enough to eat? Westa wanted to make sure. Yes, as a matter of fact, I even ate extra 50 pounds of fish, just in case, Westa smiled. I guess we should get in line now. All the girls ready? Are they ready? Oh, yes, but it looks like we will be at the end of the line. The end of the line, Westa thought. Well, I guess that will be okay. She thought of their leader, Frisia. She was very old and a wise grandmother whale. She had 5 children calves. She knew the way to the Baha waters from the whispers of the ancient ones. Westa was raised with her calves. She always loved Frisia and her male husband Tobey. They were the oldest of the family tribe. Today, Tobey and the other males went swimming by. They all jumped out of the waters, waving goodbye to all their mates and their unborn calves. The time had come to start the great journey. Frisia attached her mind to all the other whales' minds. Westa got the message and began to swim behind Mista. They all waved their tails to their mates. Suddenly Westa's young mate Valor swam under her belly, rubbing it with his giant snout, kissing her and their unborn baby goodbye. Westa giggled and gave Valor a snuggle back. Their big, beautiful eyes met, and Westa knew that he would be in mind with her the whole time. The long journey had really begun when Frisia raised her giant body from the icy water, and with the giant splash she came back down, giving everyone the signal to follow her. Westa waved her final goodbye to Valor with her flipper, and soon they were on their way. Hold on to the rear, Westa, this thought entered her mind. It was Frisia checking in with her. Westa thought back to her, Okay, Frisia, I got it covered back here. They swam and swam, occasionally diving down to grab a bite to eat now and then. They could see the land where the land humans lived. Of course, they were the water humans. Everybody knew that. Westa could see beautiful brown and green mountains. They were houses on them, and she could also see one road that went along the mountain, with cars going along the way and the other way. She thought that the cars were earth whales. Frisia let her know right away in her mind, No, dear, the humans ride in them. They are their body-moving vehicles, called cars. Westa had never seen a human, so we can understand her mistake. They had gone about 100 miles. The night had fallen, the stars and the moon reflected on the ocean home. It was time to sleep now. Everyone stayed in line. That was important. They simply closed their big knowing eyes and float slept until morning came. Mista touched Westa's snout with her tail. Wake up, sleepyhead, it's time to go. Westa opened her eyes. She felt her baby move inside her and sent him a whale kiss. I'm awake now, Westa said, a little hungry though. Frisia thought, everyone, follow me. We will be coming to a really great feeding place real soon. Everyone gave tail flips and continued down the ancient water path behind old Frisia. They went another 30 miles. Westa looked over to the land. It looked different now. The mountains were gone. It was flatter now. She could see the earth whales going back and forth, though. Frisia jumped out of the water. It's time to eat, girls. Westa and Mista and everyone else dove down into the blue ocean, where there were millions of squid. Everyone opened their big mouths, and the squid swam right in. Delicious, everyone thought. They continued on and on. Soon they came to a place where there were all of these big things floating in the water. They were coming towards them. Whale watchers, girls, wave your tails, Frisia thought as she did a magnificent jump out of the water. Every one of them waved their tails at the same time. Westa could hear yelling and woohoos coming from the floating things. Frisia explained what they were, that the land humans, and that was their floating things. They were called boats. Westa thought they were so little and cute. Their journey continued, and just about every 20 or 30 miles, the same thing would happen. They were really good at it by now, and the point where they could all jump out at one time. You should have heard the yee-haws coming from the land humans. Westa thought they would fall right out of their boats. It was the first time that any of them had seen the land humans. Frisia was the only one who had. She knew a lot about them. There were many legends about them, some good and some bad. Yet the whales were to love the land humans no matter what. That's how the land humans would learn the best, with love. The water began to feel nice and warm now. Frisia let everyone know that they were almost there. It had been days and miles, and finally the great Baha was in Frisia's sight. Everyone's unborns were moving more and more. Westa thought of her mate Valor, and felt him in her heart. He was with her there all the time. They were there! It was the great Baha! The water was so nice and warm and very clear. Frisia thought everyone to go into a circle. They were as one, even more now. Their calves were too. It was so important that they start out that way, in oneness. Suddenly Westa could feel something happening. She looked around, and all the other whales had funny looks on their faces too. Westa could feel her baby slowly moving out of her. She closed her eyes for a moment and felt her mate Valor right there with her too. She went under the water, and there he was, her own baby. He came right up to her right away, and he rubbed himself on her. Westa rubbed him with her giant flipper, and then he went under her and began to drink her first mother's milk. She looked over, and there was Mista with her baby too. Hers was a little girl. All the babies were born and were drinking their mother's milk. In our milk lies their continued life. Mothers, give freely to your babies, bonding yourselves to them forever, Frisia thought. All the new mothers knew that they were to always be completely bonded to their babies. The babies knew it too, as they all drank their first mother's milk and gently nestled themselves against their mother's giant tummies. Listen carefully now. Let them tell you their names, Frisia thought. Westa felt her baby under her nursing and closed her eyes for a moment. I am Skylight. She knew that name. My Skylight, who lights the way, Westa smiled. You see, the whales always name themselves at the first bonding that had done so for thousands of years. Sometimes a new baby calf would be a return of the ancient one, come back to teach more of the old ways. Everyone knew that Frisia and Tobey were ancient ones. Westa wasn't sure yet about herself, but she had a strong feeling about her baby that he was. Westa received a thought from Frisia just then. Skylight, my old friend! It was true. Westa was even more happier, if she could possibly be. She knew that Skylight was to be a teacher. It was written in the ancient stars, Skylight, my star. They stayed in the great Baha for days and weeks. Everyone got to meet each other's babies, and Frisia had many thought talks with Skylight. Soon the babies became bigger and stronger, big and strong enough to go back on the great journey to their home to meet their fathers for the first time. They all formed the familiar line. Westa and Skylight were holding up the rear. Frisia gave the signal, and they all knew. All the new mothers and babies followed right behind. Every calf stayed right with their mother. They couldn't help but jump and play all the way. They were so happy to be here. Mista's baby had named herself Shella. Skylight and Shella had hit it right off. Seems they knew each other from before. They would jump over each other and sometime give each other little whale kisses. After swimming a couple days, Frisia wanted to stop at a certain place that she said was a sacred water place. It really didn't look any different, yet it did have a somewhat different feeling to it. It was way out far from the land. Frisia had everyone circle in a giant circle. Everyone did as they were told. The babies all swam into the middle of the circle, with Skylight and Shella leading the way. Frisia told them to look at the water line and watch the fireball fall into the ocean. The clouds turned orange, purple, gold, and yellow. It was a brilliant sunset. The night came, and it was a full moon. The stars lit up the sky. Millions of them could be seen. The mother whales began to swim around their calves in a circle. It really wasn't noticed at first. No one said anything. They were all so caught up in the dance around the babies when Weston noticed that Skylight was glowing. The water dance stopped. Everyone just looked at Skylight. He happily jumped in and out of the water, just glowing away. Westa looked over at Frisia, who had a nice smile on her face. She watched Skylight to do his thing and really couldn't believe what she was seeing. How come he is glowing, she thought. He's a star whale, where all the ancient ones come from, Frisia thought, as her dorsal fin began to light up. Soon Frisia was completely lit up too. She had never glowed for them before. It had to be in the sacred place. Mista looked over and saw Shella glowing. Mista said to Westa, "Look at Shella, she's doing it too." They both hit their flippers on the water with complete joy. They played that way all night until the morning came again. They all had some very delicious fish and were back on their journey home. Along the way they spotted land humans now and then. Skylight knew all about them already. He said he would tell stories about them one day. It had been days and weeks, and they were almost there. Westa recognized the big mountain that was on the land. She knew she was going to see Valor pretty soon. There they were. It was all their mates. They were jumping way out of the water. They were so happy. Then they swam towards them, and they just couldn't wait any longer. The babies started jumping, their best jumps too. Their fathers came right up to them, and the babies got their first they got on their backs. Each father knew their own baby right off and gave them rides back to the home. All the mothers watched as their babies played with their fathers and just smiled and said, "Just look at them. It's love at first sight." Today, Tobey was swimming stable, looking as regal as he always did. Frisia went right to him, and they rubbed snouts for a while. "Skylight came home, I see. So did Shella. That's very good. They were always such a beautiful couple," Tobey thought to Frisia. "Just like us, my love," Frisia thought, as they swam toward the giant white land mountain. Soon everyone was back home to their own special waters. Even though the whole ocean was their home, the new families lived their lives together in harmony with all. Skylight told many new stories, which over the years became legends. Shella and Skylight were married, and they had their own babies. They were ancient ones, too. Westa and Valor were such proud grandparents. When Frisia and Tobey left them to play in the stars, it was Westa who was to lead the way to the great Baha. Somehow she knew the way. The end. Hope you liked it. Bye for now.